Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. This is the second video in the basics of kohlrabi, and today we're going to show an easy way to saute the greens. Now I have that same bunch of kohlrabi that I showed in my first video, and I have 3 bulbs all with the greens attached. And so your very first step in dealing with them is to just simply cut the greens off. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to cut them off with a small knife, cut them into small enough pieces where I can put them in my bowl where I'm going to wash them. Nothing has been washed yet, okay? Nothing has been washed yet. And you see there's quite a clump of dirt sitting on the bottom of that. So they all have to be washed really well. But in this video, I'm just focusing on the greens. So very first step you want to do when you're dealing with these beautiful little vegetables is to remove the greens. And I'm just using a simple paring knife to do that with. If you're more comfortable with a large knife, use whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not going to do any more with the bulb at this moment. I'm focusing for now just on the greens. And that's all I'm going to do is remove them close to the bulb, just like that. And then we're going to go to the sink, or I'm going to go to the sink and wash these really, really well. And then we'll be right back here and I'll show you how I'm going to cut them. I have a nice plate full here of washed kohlrabi greens, and they really look nice. I can tell you that there was a lot of dirt on them, and I put them in this large bowl, filled that bowl up with water, swished them around really, really well, and then drained it and did it a second time because I felt like since there was a lot of dirt with them, I really wanted to wash them well. So I'm going to move them aside and I'm going to show you how I cut these things up. And I'm tackling this just as if I were going to cut up kale. I cut up kale all the time. We use a lot of kale. And when I get to kale, I'm going to show you, I actually grow it myself in the house. I have a non-circulating hydroponic system. So I will show you that when I get to kale. Anyway, just in little bite-sized pieces here. And I'm just going to put them in my bowl. And we're going to saute these as if I was sauteing kale. It's really not difficult. And we'll do it in a little bit of olive oil. If you don't want to use the oil, no problem. Saute them in water or coconut oil, whatever you're comfortable using. Okay? Now, I don't have to bore you with this whole thing, but I want to show you how I'm going to cut up some of these larger leaves. I'll do it this way. And you can see what I'm doing. Just so I have some smaller bite-sized pieces, I'm just going to cut this across over there and cut that across. I'm going to kind of bunch them together. Don't have to roll it per se like a chiffonade. I just bunch it together. And now we're going to cut it into, oh, maybe not quite ½ inch slices, somewhere in there. No big deal. No big deal. And anyway, so now we've got some pieces that are going to be really easy to deal with. And what I want to do too for you before we get to the stove, I'm going to taste it raw for you and tell you what I taste, because the experts that I found online said you can eat this raw in a salad or sauteed or any way you want. So we're going to taste it. Interesting. I can tell you it has the texture of raw kale and a flavor of raw kale. Really not any different. It tastes like pretty much any raw green. I think I would prefer it cooked, although I'm sure it's edible raw and you may like it raw. For me, I think I would prefer it cooked. I think that it would be more tender in that way. But it certainly would be healthful either way you go, whether you eat it raw or cooked. This would be a good addition to so many dishes, even a pasta dish where you've got a variety of vegetables in there, you could throw some of these greens in there and that would be good. All right, I'll finish cutting this up and I'll show you what we have and then go to the stove. All the kohlrabi greens are cut up, and to me, this is a pretty impressive amount of greens off of those 3 bulbs. This is a salad spinner bowl, and so it's pretty large, and you can see I've got a pretty fair amount in here, and they look beautiful. So off to the stove. We're at the stove and my skillet is warmed up, and so I'm going to add about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil here. And again, I'm cooking these like I prefer to saute kale. If you would rather steam them, boil them, hey, you can do whatever you want. I just wanted to show you one way that I thought would be a really nice way to serve them. And then here I have 1 large clove of garlic that's been finely chopped. And we're going to let that cook just a little bit in this warm oil. In the meantime, you also want to have a little salt nearby, a little pepper, and I also have a container with a little water in it. I'm not exactly sure how much water we're going to use. We're going to add just a little bit at a time until these are as tender as I want them to be without adding an overabundance of water. And this is just the way I prefer to cook greens without having too much liquid in there. Okay, that's browning really fast. So we're going to go ahead and add these beautiful kohlrabi greens. Now I don't want that garlic to burn, so I'm going to add a little bit of water right away just to help cool it down. Going to add some salt and pepper, freshly ground pepper. This is to taste, whatever amount you want in there. And then I have some pink Himalayan sea salt, a couple pinches. Now, okay, that cooled down like I needed it to. It was a little warm there for that garlic. Now, we've already lost some of that water, so we're going to add a little more. I'm going to put the lid on this and just let them steam in there until they're tender, and I'll let you know about how long it is, and then we'll go from there. I am declaring these things as done as I want them to be. I've had them cooking for all of about 15 minutes, that's all. And the stems are crisp, tender. I can poke a fork through them, but I can still tell there's a little bit of crispness there. And that's the way we like it. You can continue cooking it longer if you want. I did add some more salt and pepper to it. And I did add more water several times along the way. These greens seem to be quite thirsty, maybe a little more thirsty than others that I've cooked. And I cook greens on a regular basis. All totaled, I didn't measure it to be exact, but all totaled, it was probably around a cup of water that I added to it. Now, I just want to give this a quick taste. I'm going to take this off the fork. And it reminds me of a mild collard green or turnip green, something like that, just like it is. But I'm going to do something special and add the juice of half a lemon, which you don't have to do, but I find that that really brightens the flavor up quite a bit on greens. If you don't have lemon juice, you can actually add vinegar of your choice. Not a lot, you know, no more than a tablespoon to this. And then let it sit for a little bit so that vinegary taste kind of dissipates some, so you don't feel like you're eating vinegar greens. But the lemon juice and or vinegar will actually help to brighten it a little bit. And now I'm going to poke another piece and taste that. Again, it tastes like a typical green to me, but it's good. I like the lemon juice in there. That to me is an impressive amount of greens from those 3 bulbs of kohlrabi. So this will add to my repertoire of greens that I cook, and I really feel like buying the kohlrabi gives you a 2-for-1 deal. You get the greens and then you get the bulbs as well. I'm going to put this in a serving dish and show you what it looks like from there. There is our delicious bowl of kohlrabi greens. Well, I hope this has helped to answer some more of your questions about kohlrabi. And I'm not finished yet. I have more to do. I have the bulbs to cook. See you again. This is Judi at Judi in the Kitchen. I hope this helps.